All right, prediction. New York Governor Kathy Hochul's going to be celebrated in the press tomorrow for dropping her idiotic mask requirements for businesses only. What wisdom and leadership she's demonstrated. Not so fast, Kath. As Democrat governors are scrambling to cover their COVID tracks by slowly dropping their mask mandates, we must never, ever forget what these people did to us. Now, that viral video from the early days of the pandemic was a sign of very bad things to come. Filmed just about a month after Dr. Fauci insisted masks weren't necessary. Yet blue state mayors and left-wing governors slavishly followed unelected federal health experts and started treating us like guinea pigs.
Hey, no.
Yeah, the skies got a lot less friendly, all because our so-called expert class thought a two-ply piece of cloth was going to prevent COVID transmission 1 seat away.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Surely we won't let them slink away after what they did, even to our little ones.
We just got kicked off the flight because our 2-year-old would not put on a mask, and we're banned off of United forever because a 2-year-old would not put on a mask.
The damage that they left in their power-tripping wake, using their emergency authority to enforce a new normal, we never liked that phrase, a new normal that was never grounded in science, and which turned American against American. We became a nation of mask snitches.
This massive crowd, again, not many of them wearing a mask. I spoke to the Tampa police and I asked them, what are you doing about this?
Now, when it became cool to report on COVID violators to be a COVID tattletale, you knew we were in trouble here. And then Biden thought he'd placate all of you by asking for just 100 days of masking, which turned into a year. But none of this ever mattered, did it, for the elites and the well-connected, like Gavin Newsom at the French Laundry, and the Obamas in the heat of the Delta wave celebrating Barack's 60th with a blowout bash in the vineyard. No masks? No problem. These celebrity hypocrites always had an explanation, though, didn't they, for violating the rules the regular people still had to abide by.
I wore my mask the entire game, and when people ask for a photograph, I hold my breath and I put it here and people could see that.
But during this mass nightmare, the rest of America was still denied entrance to bars and kicked out of gyms and even chased off beaches.
Did they cite you first, or did they just put you in handcuffs?
This is America!
Did they cite you first, or did they just put you in handcuffs?
They didn't cite me, no.
And the entire time, the bureaucrats and the politicians who claim to care so much about children's health only let the kids back into the classrooms if they wore filthy, bacteria-filled masks for several hours a day.
Been failed by the public health office.
All we're asking is that we work in safe and fair conditions.
But then that wasn't good enough either, because suddenly the goalpost shifted again. The cloth and the surgical masks at some point just stopped working, I guess. We just needed N95s and KN95s.
We continue to take additional steps to ensure that Americans have what they need to protect themselves, including by making hundreds of millions of N95 masks available for free to all Americans.
Have you ever gotten yours? We haven't. As usual, Biden's right on time. Just in time for Omicron to kind of fade away, and even liberal governors to announce that they're slowly dropping the mandates. Now, long ago, the angle told you that the Democrats would only pull the mask mandates when they decided that the issue was hurting them politically. Well, that time has come. Governors Murphy of New Jersey, Ned Lamont of Connecticut, John Carney of Delaware, Gavin Newsom of California, and now Kathy Hochul of New York. Well, we're not celebrating your vision or your COVID stewardship. We're outing you for your cynical, destructive, ineffective, meaningless, divisive, and frankly, illegal abuse of power these past 2 years. Here's what California versus Texas COVID cases look like on a graph. The green is Texas. You get the point. The mask mandates made no difference. Dropping them isn't about cases declining. It's about Democrats' chances in November declining. Although apparently the White House is willing to sacrifice the midterms for the masks.
CDC continues to recommend that any mask is better than no mask.
They're a really important tool to stop the spread, especially of a highly transmittable Omicron variant.
The guidance is very clear, which is that we recommend masking in schools. That is the recommendation from the CDC.
They just can't stop themselves. And they call the America Firsters fanatics. Meanwhile, don't let any of the mask commissars off the hook. Instead, remember, they forced unmasked students to be corralled into mini isolation centers or kicked out of school altogether, or even threatened with criminal trespassing charges. So one by one, they can drop their mandates, but we will never drop our demands for accountability until they're all driven from office once and for all. And that's the angle.